I am Marcel Jackson, the founder and CEO of Ambition Center, MKE. As of September 20th, we opened the doors. We are a shared private office and co-working space. So we are here for the community. We offer 3 levels of membership, and we're here. Just let me know if you would like a tour. All of you have my email by registering, and I'll continue to just keep you in the loop. So just want to thank you to our first edition of Collaboration Corner. One huge part of our culture here at Ambition Center is collaboration. So we want to continue to bring you individuals, bring you people that's doing amazing things within the community as they come and they're sharing their time, their energy, their resources, their knowledge just for you. So yeah, okay. Alrighty, I will pass it over to Bill. Okay, there you go.
My name is Bill Toombs Jr. I've been in the credit industry for well over 10 years. I've been saying that for a while now, so I'm probably at like 13, 14 years. It kind of evolved from teaching a lot on personal credit to growing into building business credit. And from there, once you fully dive into business credit, you start to learn how easy it is to get into certain industries within various businesses, right? So it makes it a lot easier where you don't necessarily have to have all the capital to get into business or whatnot, as you typically do without business credit or without credit, period. So I kind of evolved from doing that to being what you would call a serial entrepreneur. I have a few different businesses. One is the business consultant, where we teach entrepreneurs how to build business credit. We have a virtual office, a virtual mail business where people who need mail and they work from home, you want to have, and I'm gonna get into that shortly, but you want to have a legitimate address versus your home or a PO box. So it's reasons that you want a professional address. So we got in that industry as well. And then one thing that's real hot right now is trucking. I started a trucking business about 6 months ago. I'm share a little bit about that, how business credit coincides with that in various other industries as well. All right, so it's a little bit about me. Like I said, I've been inside of business credit and credit for well over 10 years. I've been an active entrepreneur for a long time, and I love entrepreneurship. And I'm sure those of you who are involved with this either are entrepreneurs or aspiring to be entrepreneurs. And one thing that's essential, I feel is essential when it comes to growing a business, is understanding and utilizing business credit. Okay, so now one thing I'm gonna touch on is that when I first started talking about business credit, which was maybe 3 or so years ago, it wasn't new, but it was new to the masses, right? So, it gauged a lot of attention, and I had to spend a lot of time on the core. So now the core that I'm gonna go through, I'm kind of run through it, but a lot of you may have heard of this stuff already. As far as when I say the core, that's the credibility side of business credit, what you need prior to even starting to build business credit. So I used to have to spend a lot of time on that. But you may have heard this. If not, feel free to ask more questions. But I want to make sure I share some level two type of business credit tips here today too as well. All right, so now let's go over some credibility. So the first thing that happens when it comes to starting a business. All right, so one thing that's common, we got to get an LLC or a corporation. The thing that happens that we don't necessarily do correctly is we get excited to start a business and we go file an LLC. Well, what you want to do, there's a couple of things you actually want in place prior to filing that LLC when building business credit. Otherwise, you have to go and change it with the state, change it with the government, blah, blah, blah. But if you are at the very beginning, you can do it the right way. So when it comes to the credibility, what you want to have is, one is your address. Let's say your address, right? So again, your address needs to not be a PO box. UPS box. You know, I get, well, my UPS store says I can use suite. It doesn't matter, because what happens is the underwriter or whomever you applying for will Google that address. And even if you use a suite to a UPS store, it's going to pull up the UPS store on Google. Then you get denied. So you want either a good virtual address or a physical location. So one of the two is important when it comes to building business credit. The next thing is a phone number, right? So now most of us will use a cell phone. You know, we have our cell phone to get started, quickest, easiest way to get going. The problem is you can definitely tell that that's a cell phone. So although people run $1 million businesses on their cell phone, it still needs to be perceived as either a landline. It has to be a landline, or it can be a virtual number. So something as simple as a Google Voice number, which is free. But if you want an 800 number, you can pay something as simple as $10 a month with freedomvoice.com. But so you do want a phone number. The next thing you want is that number listed. Okay, so that number needs to be listed with the yellow pages. With 411, you have to be found via the yellow pages for your business. So you can take that virtual number and you can list it with the yellow pages. And there's ways to do that where you don't have to pay crazy amount of money to the yellow pages either. I'll get into that. All right, so the next thing that you'll want is you got your phone number, you got your address, you want a website, okay? So now with the website, it doesn't have to be nothing extravagant, but you definitely want a web presence on the site. The next thing you want is a business email, okay? So now your business email address, it can't be, say your business is prettysocks.com. Okay, it can't be prettysocks@gmail.com. You get denied. It needs to be something such as support@prettysocks or info@prettysocks. It needs to be a personalized business email. It's very important for this information. So now what happens is this is the stuff that you want to get established, where now when you go and you file that LLC or corporation, you can file it utilizing your business information. So more commonly what happens is you go and file this LLC and you use your home address, use your cell phone number, you don't have a website, you use the Gmail account. All right, so now as you build a business credit, if you've done this, if you pass this point, then you just have to go and change that on the LLC, change the address, change the phone number, change the website, add a business email. So when your business is pulled up, you can get some, you look more legitimate than somebody that's fly by night that won't be here in a couple months. Okay, that's how underwriters look at this stuff. So besides that, you need to have an EIN. You need to have EIN as a tax ID number. You also need a DUNS number. Okay, so DUNS is how you're recognized nationally by Dun & Bradstreet, which is one of the 3 major credit bureaus when it comes to business credit. 1 is Business Experian, 2, Business Equifax, 3 is Dun & Bradstreet. Okay, and DUNS will issue a free DUNS number that attached to your company, and you use that for building business credit. They use it to report it. So it's important to get that DUNS number. You run into anybody trying to charge you to get you a business. I see that it's a lot of scams and stuff that goes on. People try to sell you a DUNS number, try to sell you to get your EIN. These things are free, absolutely free. And this stuff is very inexpensive as well. Like I said, with the phone number, you get it free from Google, or you could get it from Freedom Voice for only $10 a month. That's the cheapest I found. Website, if you get a Google business account, you can build a website actually for free they got Google Sites, or you can get something that's cheap for paying $100 to GoDaddy, and GoDaddy will give you a website builder program along with a business email for that. And then you got various different packages with business addresses. But overall, you're not spending a lot of money. So now you got the credibility completed when it comes to being prepared to build business credit. Okay. So what I want to do is how you doing? What's important when it comes to building business credit is the credibility of the company prior to even building business credit. So now, what I want to share when it comes to building business credit is the importance of credit. Okay, so, and I want to dive into this a little more because when people think of business credit, they think of cash. All right, so they want cash. I need money. I need, 50,000. I need 20,000. I need 40. Whatever the case, they need cash. But what's important to understand is that a lot of times the companies that you're going to spend cash with will extend you business credit. Therefore, you don't need to use your liquid cash to pay for these things. You can utilize the credit. So what I want to do is share a few examples of that, and not just, focus on business credit. So now I want some education here I want to share too. Whereas you got to understand business credit from an aspect of personally guaranteed business credit and non-personal guarantee. So PG and non-PG. Okay, so what PG is, it's important to understand this. Personally guaranteed is when you put it on, is when you put your social security number as guaranteeing the line of credit that you receive. Okay, so that's a personal guarantee. Most banks, most financial institutions will absolutely require you to personally guarantee the money that they give you. Okay, now you can build business credit through various different net 30s, net 60 accounts or whatnot, and get access to, right now there's pretty much one that's probably the easiest to get, which is Sam's Club. They give you a credit card with no personal guarantee, and it's a revolving credit card. So you can use it as you may, you can use it wherever, and it's a credit card. But they want to see a nice amount of trades on your credit report on your business credit report prior to issuing you that credit card. So, but otherwise, if you want to establish business credit and you go straight to the bank and apply for a line of credit, then you're definitely going to need to use your social security number. All right, so it's important to understand that if it's PG or non-PG, because you have different lines of credit or whatnot out there. Another thing that's important to understand is that if it is PG, if it's a soft pull or a hard pull, okay? So now a hard pull is when, say you go to a bank, you apply for a line of credit, they're gonna pull a tri-merge report that's gonna give them 3 credit scores, and it's gonna show as an inquiry on your credit report. So you can understand the more inquiries you have, the less favorable you look to financial institutions. So it's important to be mindful of who you're applying for. You have to have a strategy in place, a plan in place when you're going to give an inquiry, a hard pull. All right. But now a soft pull is pretty much when they're just taking a peek at your credit to get a gist of what your credit experience is like, okay? How well you pay your bills, things of that sort. But it's not a hard pull, all right? So, and it's important because there's cards out here, there's business credit cards that offer you cash for just soft pulls. So what I typically tell folks to do is go after all your soft pull money first. Don't just go for the hard pulls. You get hard pulls, you get ding, you get ding, you get ding. Too many of those, your scores start dropping and you look less favorable. So go after your soft pull money first, all right? So now, I'm gonna get into some credit cards after I give some examples of why utilizing the net 30s. And the reason why I'm like kind of emphasizing on that is because, you know, over the years I've been doing this, you know, people get access to different lines of credit. And, you know, the question has always been cash, I need cash, I need cash. You know, say if they have poor credit, but they're looking to establish business credit to get access to cash. Well, that window is not that wide when it comes to getting access to a whole lot of cash without using your social security number. I see a question I want to try to answer. So how do you find out if a place would do a soft or a hard pull? You want to ask. All right, prior to applying for anything, you want to ask. And if the person who you're asking do not have a confident answer behind them, ask somebody else. Talk to a manager, supervisor, whatever the case. But you definitely want to ask, like, hey, are you guys going to do a hard pull or a soft pull on my credit? Now, most places will do a hard pull. So it's important to know who will and won't do the soft pulls.
Got another question.
Go ahead.
Another question are, what are some of the common misconceptions surrounding being a new business and accessing business credit from court?
From court. What is a common misconception? One I just mentioned is one in business credit, like, hey, I'm about to establish some business credit and I have horrible credit, horrible personal credit. So now you have horrible personal credit and you get a bunch of net 30 accounts and you think, okay, cool, now I'm gonna go get access to $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. That's a huge misconception. That absolutely does not work like that. So that's one misconception. The second one is that business credit is established overnight. It's not. It can be somewhat of a lengthy process if you're starting from scratch. You know, you generally, if you do it correctly, you can generally build 50 to 100,000 or so between a combination of vendor cash and actual cash within a 6-7 months period. You know, and that's being aggressive. That's being somewhat even aggressive with it, because a lot of times you're at the mercy of things reporting. Okay, so let me break down some of the tiers. Is there another question? I don't mind jumping to questions.
Yep, we have one more question. All right, so the question is, how do I change my code so it's not a high-risk business? I don't know if that's your, like, which code are you referring to?
They return, I believe they return to the SEC codes. That I don't necessarily advise on. It doesn't necessarily play a huge part when it comes to business credit. It depends on the route that you're going. Like, if that's more so a PG lane. So if you are looking to get access to a lot of cash and you're going to personally guarantee it, there are certain banks that don't want to see certain SEC codes that makes you in a more high risk category. When it comes to building business credit 100% on your EIN, see, my focus is more so getting you as much capital or access to as much vendor capital, as much capital without personally guaranteeing it, without putting putting a hard pull on the line for that. Without having to actually step foot in a financial institution. So, you know, SEC codes, you can find them if you Google. You can Google. I'm sure there's some links. I actually know a lady who used to teach me a lot about that stuff, but forgive me, I don't know the site offhand. But you know, that's something you can Google and find a direction on where to change your SEC code. Is that another question? Okay. All right. So now, when it comes to building business credit, and this is 100% on your EIN, which is the important, like I said, all these items that I just went through is important to build business credit on your EIN, right? So now, what are you doing? So now you got 4 different tiers, maybe. Okay, so you got tier 1, you got tier 2, you got tier 3, and you got tier 4. Okay, so now tier 1 are companies that will give you a line of credit typically a net 30 or so without using a personal guarantee. But their minimum requirements is for you to have that credibility completed. So they more take a little higher risk where they're like, okay, we'll give you a line of credit as long as you come off as credible, right? Those are companies like Uline, even Home Depot, Shirtsy. There's a few of them out there where you can use these different companies to get products that you need for your company. So like Quill, things of that sort. All right, so now that's tier 1. So now let's say you got 3 companies that reports, right? Now, when we pull that business credit report, a good place you can look at your business credit report is NAV, NAV.com. NAV.com is NAV. You can start a free account with them. If you get a paid account, they will report as a trade. So it actually helps you. All right, so now once you got 3 of them that they sent you your product, I'm sorry, you got approved a line of credit, you received your product, you paid your invoice on time. Now you're waiting for those 3 to report to the business credit reports. Now, once they do that, we pull NAV, right? Now that you got your NAV report, you'll see these 3 items on there. And when you have it at least 3, now you qualify for tier 2. All right, so tier 2 is when you start having fun a little bit, okay? Because tier 2, you got stuff like Amazon. Amazon is a great one to have. Amazon will give you a net 55 account, okay? So, and then there's a credit card. A good tier 2 credit card would be Capital on Tap. I'll explain why it's good. I'll explain why Amazon is good. And then you got various gas cards. A few other things on there too. Okay, so this is an example of how utilizing your vendor accounts can be beneficial if you don't necessarily have the cash. All right. So now, for example, prime example for me, right? So for my virtual mail business, we have an office that we rent out the area or whatnot, and then we accept mail for our clients. All right. So now, when it came to expansion, I wanted to get a new TV, nice flat screen in there, got some new tables, some new chairs, got some paint and all that stuff done. And it was somewhat costly, right? Well, what I did was I got everything from my Amazon. So I went and got my TV, and went and got my tables, and went and got my conference table, my chairs and all that stuff. And it gave me 55 days to pay it. So what happened is, since I got all that stuff in, now mind you, if I treated this from a typical standpoint, without business credit, I went and spent X amount of thousand with getting all this stuff set up prior to getting things rolling. But I was able to tap into this and stay liquid, not have to come out of my cash to pay for these things. So now that that stuff was in place, I was able to advertise, went hard with networking and things of that sort, and got it booming, right? So now it's doing well, and it was in less than 55 days. So now I had the money that came in from my cash flow to pay off my Amazon line of credit. One, they never even took a peek at my personal credit. And 2, I never used any of my cash. That's a huge benefit of building business credit, right? Another example of business credit without using cash, I have a guy I work with who is a real estate investor, right? So what he did was we tapped into ABC Supply, which is do a lot of exterior material, Home Depot, and also the capital on tap, right? So now what happens is he acquires the property. He uses his Home Depot account to buy all his materials, things of that sort. I even seen him get a few things from his Amazon account for the decor, the decorating and stuff, make it pretty, to make it sell, whatnot. And then he used the capital on tap, which is a credit card. He used that to pay his contractors. So he absolutely used none of his cash to fix up the property. Now, and even more so, this is a whole nother gambit, but he used private money to even acquire the property. So this man didn't use none of his cash, none of his credit, but 100% business credit and private money or hard money to acquire the property. Once it was done, put it back on the market. Once it sells, he pays everything off and pockets the profit. Okay, so that's another way that you can tap into building business credit. So as I mentioned, I'll just give some more of these examples. Well, one I share is my wife, right? So my wife has a childcare business, and with childcare, you're paid once a month at the beginning of the month. Well, with childcare, they advance with pay based off of stars, right? You're rated by, some of you may even know this, rated by something star, I forgot the name of it, but they come out, they inspect, and they give you stars. Well, she wanted to redo the whole daycare to make it, look good, to make sure she get her stars, to get her pay per child increased. So what she did was she tapped into her Amazon account, and then there's another account that even, I can't think of the name. So what happened is when you go to these daycare programs and whatnot, they give you handbooks that encourage you to use some of the vendors that's within the books to order your supplies from. Well, we contact one of those vendors to say, hey, do you have a corporate department that offer business credit? They gave her a business line of credit because they pulled her credit report. She had a great credit report, and she had her Amazon account. So she used the two to furnish the daycare, and they came in, they was blown away and gave her stars, and she was good. So now she got her pay increased, and when her money came, she used that to pay off her lines of credit. So again, that's using business credit without needing to come out of pocket. That'd be the biggest hurdle that we have with scaling a business. It's not necessarily having the capital to do so. So those is a couple examples, and I'm gonna give another quick example with the trucking. So with the trucking industry, I got into it. I didn't know that it was so cost heavy. It's cost heavy in the trucking, weekly, daily. It's cost heavy. So I was fortunate enough to start building business credit prior to getting into it, but I was driving my little car and using my gas card that I got enough gas to fill the truck on the gas card, and used to talk about it like, yeah, I got a $10,000 gas card, and I just, got a little 4-cylinder car, but now that I'm in the trucking industry, I see why they're needed like that, because that gas is expensive and the weekly pay. So our model is renting of trucks. So we rent the trucks, and so we have to pay faithfully every week for the truck, as well as pay faithfully that gas, as well as the insurance. So with the business credit being established, especially some of the cash credit cards, you can hit those payments, and those invoices come in. Those of you know about trucking a little bit, those invoices can get paid a couple days later or whatnot, or the next day, but it's definitely in arrears versus your expenses are upfront. All right, so business credit is extremely helpful when it comes to scaling your business and growing to the next level. So when I talk about credit cards, and then I go on to tier 3 or tier 4, but when you talk about credit cards, some of the best credit cards that are soft pulls and give you access to cash is this Capital on Tap. Another really good one is Divvy, which is Divvy. And another good one is Brex. Now, Brex is not a card that's going to give you cash unless you got $100,000 in the bank. So if you're sitting like that, you want to go get that Brex card. But if you don't, Brex will give you a business account, online business account, and instead of a debit card, they give you a credit card, which is extremely beneficial. You use it to rent cars. You can do all types of things, just like a normal credit card. Even you can't even use it as a debit card. It comes up as a charge for a credit card. And as you use this card, you build points and you even earn frequent flyer miles and things of that sort. So it's like a debit card because it's backed by the money in your bank, but you build in points for frequent flyer miles and all types of different perks that you get with the Brex card. So and not to mention, all of those report to your business credit report. So, that's what's key, is that when you pull your business credit report, you see various different reporting trades that show that you pay on time, that you established and you paid on time. And what it does is open the door for more credit. So commonly what you want to do is apply for more credit, within, every tier and whatnot. And as you use it in time past, you pay on time. Ask for limit increases. Okay, that's very important. So let's say if you're going to get a credit card, even if it's a credit card, you're on PG, right? Say in that credit card pulls business credit and personal credit. So now if they see that you have, 2,000 with each one of those companies, it's okay, you got $2,000. But imagine the difference if they see you got 20,000 with each one of those companies. They say, okay, this company trusts you with 20, this company trusts you with that. And it's very important that companies would report to your business credit report to continue to establish your business credit. Okay, so now moving on. Once you get 3 to 5 of these companies to report, now you get access to tier 3. Tier 3 is companies that more will give you larger lines of credit. Okay, so you can even get a larger Home Depot account. Who else is up there? Budget car rentals. It's a bunch of them, but basically it's more vendor accounts. So you can understand how we generally design your path for building business credit is what you need as a business. Okay, so if you're in a business where you rehab houses, we're trying to tap into everything that can be beneficial as far as supplies and cash for you when it comes to rehabbing homes. But now, once you get Staples is another one that is on here. And these are larger, you start to get into revolving vendors versus net terms. So you can understand that net terms is when they say net, you have to pay it off by that due date. So if I have a net 30, or for example, this Amazon, which is a net 55, I have 55 days to pay off my balance. And with Amazon, I generally see initial approvals from like $4,000 to $10,000. So you spend up to 10,000 and you got 55 days to pay it off, right? So now, once you establish those with tier 3, and you pull the credit report, now you into tier 4. Tier 4 is when you could go after that Sam's Club. That's more cash. So you would have got these cash cards, as well as now you could go after the Sam's Club. In some cases, I see people get it on tier 3. Honestly, I feel like it's how Sam's Club is feeling that month, if you're gonna get approved or not. So definitely, but tier 4, you can get that. You can get Apple has a good one. Best Buy has a good one. If you're in there, like if you in a business where you need electronics, that's definitely the two that you want to tap into. And not only that, like I said, you have access to cash from Sam's Club. So Sam's Club is a card. It's a cash card. You don't have to use it just at Sam's. You can use it wherever. And there's various third-party companies you can even use to liquidate cards where you don't have to pay a crazy cash advance fee, right? It's like some is as cheap as 2.5%. The last one we was using was what is this company called? Plastic PLASTIQ. They're in the business of liquidating credit cards. So that way, say if you have American Express card and you want to go buy a house with a credit card, Plastic is one of the companies you make and use. They got different factors or whatnot, but you make it use to pull the money off of the card, and they want to know who's the payee, where you're sending the money to. You have the address being the title company that you closing the house on, and they're sitting the money there. So now you have X amount of dollars sitting in an escrow account, waiting for you to close on the property. All right. So, but that's how you pretty much get through those tiers when it comes to building business credit and utilizing not only your cash but your vendor accounts. So that's why I wanted to be clear on the importance of not only the cash but the vendor accounts, because a lot of times we'll want 50,000 as I explained, and we're going to take that 50 to go spend it to, say, if you want to open up a hair salon, you're going to go spend part of that 50 at Home Depot to go get your flooring, go get this done, or get that done. Well, you can keep that and go to Home Depot and establish a line of credit. So now the cash is pretty much backup. Say things just don't go as planned. Now you got to use your cash, but you definitely can utilize the line of credit to get you to scale your business or even open your business from start. But yeah, so that's kind of the breakdown from tier 1 to tier 4. I want to open it up for any questions and go from there.
Yeah, okay. We have one question in the chat.
Okay.
Shakita says, Capital on Tech keeps getting denied and she has 9 trade lines.
Okay.
So it seems like she did the tier 1, got trade lines, but
okay.
she's getting denied. So
okay. Okay. Do you know why you got denied? One thing is I would call and ask why you got denied. And then I learned, I think from you, Marcel, that you gotta show that you have more than 30 grand coming in a year. So if you putting, say if it's a new company and you just building credit on it and you putting like, 15,000 or something, you're gonna get denied. They want to see that you gross more than 30 grand a year. Somebody else ran into that and told me that too. So, but I would definitely, whenever you get denied, this is extremely important when it comes to business credit, is don't just accept the denial, especially if you have the confidence like, hey, I got 9 trades. I put in my time and energy to build these 9 trades. Why am I getting denied? Get on the phone with them, talk to the credit department and say, hey, you express that same energy and almost be upset. Like it helps. It goes a long way. It's like, why am I getting denied? With business credit, they will tell you the reason that you got denied. And sometimes if it's with the credibility side, they won't necessarily say, well, you don't have a website, but they will say your addresses didn't match up with what's on your Equifax report, something like that. So now that's a reason for denial for various different businesses, where you have your home address on your LLC, you have your new virtual address on your EIN, and you got addresses on different, each vendor has a different address. So this is something you do for the person who asked that question. You got 9 different vendors, meaning you ordered 9 different products, meaning you have 9 different invoices. Take all those invoices and make sure everything matches up verbatim, even down to the suite number. So you could get denied for stuff. It could say STE for suite or SUITE. It could be denied based off something as small and simple as that. So you want it to be exactly the same. Another question.
All righty.
That's it?
Yep, we have another question, then I'll ask a question after
Okay,
that. So Ryan asked, is it the same business credit for nonprofit organizations?
Yes. Yes, it is. The same business credit. You get that because nonprofit, you still have the EIN, you still build up your trades. You still, just share that you are a nonprofit, and you'll find with certain vendors, you may even get more perks because you are a nonprofit. So, but yes, definitely it's same thing.
All right. Follow-up question. So I know a lot of people talk about personal credit. Can you speak to the fact if I have terrible personal credit or if I'm trying to build it, what does that have to do with business credit? Can I still be okay with that? Are they two separate? So just a little spill on that.
Yeah. So with personal credit, yes, you can still build strong business credit 100% separate from your poor personal credit. But where it comes into play is if back when I said the personal guarantee versus the non-personal guarantee, you can't personal guarantee anything because they're going to look at your personal credit and see that it's poor, less than perfect. Let's not say poor. They see that it's less than perfect. Then, you might say, okay, well, I'm a PG this line of credit, but they're not going to allow the PG because you don't have the credit. So, but when you build it and it's solely relying on your EIN and the strength of that EIN with the trades, things of that sort, then yeah, that has nothing to do with your social. But I strongly encourage you taking the steps to fixing your personal credit. And like I said, I did personal credit for years. It's very simple. With personal credit, with fixing your personal credit, it's really as simple as just like, and I tell folks to do it like this: like you get a good letter. You got a good letter that removes negative information. You got to have a good letter. It's got to be a good letter. You got a lot of good letters, but you got some poor letters. You got a good letter. Send that letter off every month like clockwork. You got to pay your rent or your mortgage every single month, right? You're not going to forget to pay that. You're not going to forget to pay your cell phone. You're not going to forget to pay your rent. Pay your car note. You cannot forget to send off that letter every single month and have a plan for like 12 months. Sometimes you might send off that letter. They come back and verify the debt. Like, nope, this is your debt, blah, blah, blah. That, so what? They verified it. Send that letter right back out the next month. You'll be surprised because it takes 30 days. They have 30 days to validate that debt that's on there. If they don't validate it, it has to come off of the credit report. So what you're doing is pretty much waiting for somebody to slip every single month. In most cases, if you got a good letter, you'll see something come off every month. So just be conscious with sending that letter off, getting in the habit of paying bills on time. If you are up to your neck, you got to figure out who got to get the cut because you have to pay your bills on time. Paying your payment history accounts for 35% of the makeup of your credit score. Your utilization accounts for 30%. So and utilization, for those who know who, that's your credit cards or lines of credit, revolving lines of credit, exceeding 30%. If it exceeds 30%, you're taking a hit on your credit. All right. So utilization and payment history accounts for 65% of your score. It's important to knock those two out and, send that letter out every month. And eventually you'll see your score just constantly go up. So you'll be in a better position. Anything else? Any other questions?
All right, I don't see any more questions in the chat. Ebony said this is so informative, love it.
Thank you, Ebony.
Also, anybody in the room, do you guys have any questions for Bill?
No questions.
No, I was a little late, so I missed tier one. So I can stick around. I won't be in the audience.
Yeah. For anyone who missed it, I'll send out the recap, the recorded video. All right, we have another question in the room, Samantha.
Like, does it matter with the different businesses that you have with building credit? Like for my business is nonprofit. So it all matter, like if it was for profit or nonprofit while you're building the credit?
It does not matter, but I will say, you know, kind of giving an answer to a question that you're not really asking, but it kind of flows into it where, does it matter about your business? It does matter about the industry. Okay, so if it's nonprofit versus profit, you can build business credit, period. All right, but now you cannot build credit. There are lists of high risk businesses. So you know, if you're in a business of like a pawn shop, all right, you're not going to be able to build business credit. If you're in a business of something that's not for kids, is the best way to put it, you may not be able to build business credit. Higher risk industries is even like realty. All right, so realty, they look at it like, okay, you could sell a house this month. How we know you're gonna sell a house next month? So for my realtor clients who come, I say, hey, make a management company, real estate management. So now you're managing rents. People gotta pay their rent every month. Rent is more reliable than you selling a house. Revenue from rents being paid is more reliable than you depending on selling a house. So the industry matters. There are some higher risk industries versus, you know, go right through the door industries. Anything else?
How risky is e-commerce on that scale?
E-commerce is actually great right now.
Risky right now.
It's huge right now. You get a little quick story. I had a loan I was going after. Who was I going after this loan? PayPal. So PayPal has a little good program for working capital, right? So I was putting consultant, denied, consultant. I'm like, denied? Why I keep getting denied? Consultant, it's because there's no credit check. I'm like, why I keep getting denied? I changed it to e-commerce. Approved. Approved. I said, wow, okay. You know, because I was like, I do a little bit with the website, so maybe put e-commerce. And it was approved like that. So e-commerce is huge right now. That's why you see all those Shopify, and I'm sure y'all see all of that. E-commerce is huge. It's very favorable. It's very favorable because it's easy to look at revenue. You know what I mean? You could just log in and print something out showing sales. It's easy to validate revenue. You know, so definitely e-commerce is huge.
It's still building off that, right? So I have a Shopify. It's probably been up and running since maybe say like November 2020, right? Those revenue reports in regards to like me stepping into a bank, seeking business credit, seeking to get approved for business credit, is that information that they will want to see to increase those opportunities if my personal credit isn't perfect?
It is, but I wouldn't go that route.
Okay.
That would be secondary.
Okay.
For somebody like you, great for, and I didn't mention this, great for e-commerce is ClearBank. ClearBank, you heard of them?
No.
Okay, so ClearBank only works for e-commerce. I'm pretty sure it was ClearBank. They only work with e-commerce. They want to see a minimum amount of revenue, which isn't that much. I think it's between 5 to 10 grand.
Okay.
But they offer you a line of credit based off of that. So I would definitely tap into that in some of these online platforms prior to.
Like an educator.
See, even educators. See, I encourage soft pulls over hard pulls.
Okay.
Educators, those companies, they're gonna hard pull you.
Yeah.
ClearBank is a soft pull. Divvy is a soft pull. Capital on Tap is soft pull. Like, try to get that money first, and then go in and get your hard pull money.
Makes sense.
Because you might get all that you need from soft pull. You don't have to go sacrifice a hard pull.
Yep.
You know, so good. Okay. Well, thank you much
Wait,
Oh.
you're not done
Oh, I
yet.
thought-
But all right. No, I just wanted to come over again. My wife pointed out that I still have my name here instead of Bill. So this is Bill, not Marcel. I'm Marcel. But thank you for everyone for attending in person and virtually. I can say personally, I started working with Bill on building business credit in January. I believe I got like over 20,000 approved within the first like 2 to 3 months, all business credit, all off my EIN. And I'm like, it's a process. Like I'm on tier 2, right? But that's a proof that you can get money in tier 1 by following all of that. So I dropped the social links for Ambition Center MKE. Again, follow us on all your social media platforms for more content. But I did want to leave a couple minutes for you to talk about your business coaching program.
Okay.
Tell the people about it.
Yeah, so we have a business credit program where we help entrepreneurs build credit 100% in the business name. Our company is capitalbusinesssuite.com. That's capital CAPITAL business suite SUITE.com. And if you go on there, you see a lot of information about even what I talked about today. And if it is something you're interested in learning more about, it's a schedule a call link on there. Just schedule a free call. I'll be calling it and we're going to talk more. All right. Otherwise, it was a pleasure today. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have another question
Go ahead.
from Rebecca. If you have over a substantial amount in the business account, what would be the smartest move to get a larger line of credit? So apparently it's a decent amount of money in a business account. What's the smartest move to get a larger line of credit?
Is it okay? So Rebecca, if you could answer this, is it money that's just sitting or is it revenue coming into that account every month?
Rebecca, in the interest of time, I'll allow you to talk.
Thank you. It's sitting.
Okay, it's sitting. So was it like it was just like cash that's just put in there, or was it once revenue or what?
Yeah, an initial investment.
Okay. You pretty much got various different options. I still would say, so my advice would change if it was revenue, because if you see money coming in every month, that's different than seeing a dollar amount that's just sitting there, which is still good, because if it's just sitting there, it's still showing some sort of security. Like, okay, hey, we can give her X amount of dollars. She still got sorry about that. She still got X amount of dollars in the bank for backup or whatnot. So I would again go after soft money and then hard money. So one is going after the companies I mentioned, and two, wherever that money is sitting in, you've been establishing a relationship with that bank, whoever that bank is that you have money sitting in. So I probably would go after the soft pool money, and then when it comes to hard pool, first place I would talk to is the company who's holding the money, because you have some credibility or loan. Well, hey, I got X amount of dollars in the bank. I need a line of credit for blah, blah, blah. They may or may not want to secure it. So, but yeah, that's the route that I would go, and try to keep it liquid versus using it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
And then Bill, can you give the name one more time of the company that gives lines of credit similar to PayPal with the working capital?
So PayPal gives a loan. It's not a line of credit. So the Capital on Tap and Divvy are the two that you want to go to for lines of credit that's soft pull without doing a hard pull on your credit, if that's what you're talking about.
Okay, yep, Rob, let us know if that was good. And then again, you all, we want to remind you that Bill does offer calls. So I did put his website in the chat, and I encourage you all to please reach out to him directly and get more information about his program. Rob said it was Clear something, Bill. Clear something.
Clearbank. I'm sorry.
Clearbank.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, Rob, that was right. Clearbank. I think it's Clearbank, Clear BANC, or it might just be Clear. But Rob, hit me on the website. And if you can't find it, I'll be happy to find it for you. They got a lot of commercials coming on, at least on my feed right now. So, you know, I could find them easily for you. I'm pretty sure it was Clearbank, where they go out there, e-commerce type of site. They want to verify. Yeah, Clear Code. Yeah, that's it. Clear Code.
I just put it in. Okay. Marcel, put it in the chat, please. That might not be it. Yeah.
Yeah, Clear. That's the company I was talking about. Clear Code. I think it used to be called Clearbank, and they changed it.
Yep, so it's clear, CLEAR.co. Formerly Clearbank.
Yeah,
So they changed their name.
Yeah, they changed the name. That's what it was. All right, anything else? No? You sure? All right, look, it's been a pleasure talking to everybody. Definitely, if you get questions, feel free to visit the website. Man, take advantage of this ambitious center, please. This is beautiful. You guys, I wish I could show you around in here. The colors is crazy. I love how you did this thing. So thank you, Mr. Marcel Jackson, for having me, man. And welcome. I'm happy to come back whenever. All right.
All righty. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Again, I will send out the recording. Thank you for registering. Thank you for showing up. And yeah, let's build. If you have any questions about business credit, Bill is available. Thanks, everyone.